and welcome to Clappia. In this video, we will see how to automatically change status for your app submissions after a certain period of time. This is especially useful for escalations, priority tickets, or depending on your requirements. Let's take an example. Over here, I've created an incident reporting app where an employee can fill in their details, the type of incident that has occurred, and at what priority it should be resolved. Let me make a quick submission. I filled in some details. Now I'll click on Submit. You can view all your submissions under the Submissions tab. Currently, I have not set any statuses for this app, so I will do just that. I'll go to Design App. Step 1 is where you create the app interface. You can see all the earlier fields. I will now go to Step 2, which is Configuration, and then click on Status. On the right-hand panel, you will be able to set statuses. You can set multiple statuses based on your business requirements, such as approved, rejected, pending, in stock, out of stock, etc. For this app example, I'll set for priority level. I'll click on Add Status. You can also change the color of each status. I'll save this. Normally, to change the status, in the Submissions tab, click on a submission, and on the right-hand panel, you will be able to change the status. Now, if there are other users who need to change the status, you will have to give them appropriate access to the app, such as reviewer access. If you wish to know how to give them the appropriate access for your app, there is a separate video on that linked in the description. By default, for every submission, the status will say submitted. To change this automatically, you can do this with the help of workflows. I'll go to Design App. Now for this particular app, I have already maintained a selector for the priority level, and I have set the status according to this, making sure of the uppercase and lowercase letters and the spacing. I will just remove priority 3 since I have not set any status for this. Now if I were to make a submission in App Home, as we've seen, the default status will be submitted. If you want it to automatically change, we'll have to use workflows. So I'll go to step 3, which is workflows. I'll click on Add Step and then click on Edit Submission Node. You'll be able to configure this node on the right-hand panel. Select the app where the submission needs to be edited. In this case, it is this app itself, which is Incident Report. For filters, you will have to map the submission. So since it is for this particular app itself, I'll click on Add Filter and I can use Submission ID. Underneath this, I'll be mapping each submission to the same app itself so I can make use of the variable by typing in @submission ID. If you are unsure of how the Edit Submission node works, you can check out our other video on that, and that is linked in the description again. Under Set Field Values, click on Add Field. Here you can make changes to the submission. Since I want the status to change, I will select Submission Status. And as you've seen earlier, I already have a field where a user can select the priority level. So I can give in that field's variable by typing in @resolution priority, which was that field's name. In case you do not have such fields in your app, you can always type in the status, like so. Now I'll click on Save. Now let's test this out. I'll go to App Home and make another submission. I've selected the resolution priority as priority 2, and since I've mapped it to the status using workflows, it should automatically change the status. Now I'll click on Submit. I'll go to the Submissions tab, and as you can see, the priority has automatically changed to priority 2 with the help of the workflow node. Now let's say a user submits with a priority level 2 resolution, but after some days, the resolution is still pending and the status hasn't been changed to resolved by the resolver. Then the priority should change to level 1 automatically. In such cases, you can set a timer to change the statuses automatically. Again, I'll go to the workflow. So go back to Design App, click on Workflows, click on Start, and then select the Wait node. Again, you can configure this node on the right-hand panel. The Wait node is used to make the system wait for a certain amount of time and then execute the steps below it for a submission. Now on the right-hand panel, we have Wait type. There are two types, Wait for and Wait till. If you select Wait for, then the timer will wait for the number of seconds that you input over here. So let's say you want to wait for 1 hour, then you will have to convert that into seconds, which will be 3600 seconds. Or if you want to wait for a number of days, then you can select the wait type as wait till. Under wait till date, you can given the number of days the timer should wait before it executes the other steps. So I will type in @ and in this app I already have a date field which is date of report. So if you want to wait for a number of days after the date of report, you can select this field, or if you do not have a date field, you can always select current date or the submission date. These two variables are from the system, so you will always have it. For now, I will select date of report. If you want to wait for, let's say, 1 week, then you can add +7. If it's for 5 days, +5, and so on. For the sake of example, I will just keep for today. Next, we have wait till time. Here you can input the time at which the wait node should wait till it executes the further steps. I'll put it 1:15 for now, so that when I make a submission, we can see how the status changes immediately. Now I'll click on save. Now after the system waits, it needs to check whether the status has been changed or not. So for that, you can use the if condition node. On the right hand panel, under condition, all supported Clappia formula is applicable here, which is similar to executing spreadsheet logic. So to check whether the status has been changed or not, so I'll type in @status equals to priority 2 and save this. If it is still in priority 2, then it should change the priority to priority 1. So I'll use the edit submission node again. On the right panel, select the app, which will be the same app in this example. Filters will be the same for submission ID. We are mapping it to the same submission, and here in set field values, we are changing the status. So from priority 2, it should change to priority 1. Now I'll click on save. Let's test this out. I'll make another submission. I've selected priority 2. Now click on submit. As per our previous workflow, it has changed the status to priority 2. And now as per the new workflow that I've added, it will wait till 1:15 and then change it to priority 1, which is basically 2 minutes from now. It is 1:15 right now, so I'll just refresh the submissions page. The status has now changed to priority 1. As I mentioned, this is very useful in terms of escalations. So you can make the system wait for a number of days or wait for some time, check for the status of submission, and then change it accordingly. In the workflows, you can also add multiple workflow nodes for different levels of statuses. You can also use other workflow nodes such as the email node, MS Teams, approval, WhatsApp, SMS, etc. to send out notifications to relevant teams in case of escalations. So in this way, you can set multiple statuses for your submissions and then automatically have it changed after a certain period of time. This will also work for submissions made through the mobile app. All you have to do is download the Clappia app from either Play Store or App Store. The moment you create an app, it will be ready to use on the mobile app and you can make submissions. So let's check it out. Over here you can see the Clappia app downloaded. I'll select the incident reporting app and I'll make a quick submission. Now before I make a submission, I will change the wait time so that we can see the status change. So under the workflow tab, I'll select the wait node and change the time. I'll submit this now. Even in the mobile app, you will be able to view all your submissions. If users have the appropriate access, even on the mobile app, they will be able to change their status. And you can see the status was changed automatically based on the first workflow configuration. In a minute, this should change to priority 1 as per the new configuration. So I'll click on refresh and you can see the priority has now changed. If you have any queries on how to add statuses or how to get them to change automatically or any other feature in Clappia, you can always request support by clicking on the button over here, or you can reach out to us at support@clappia.com and we'll be happy to assist you. Thank you.